Hello, everyone. I'm Dara Bunjon. If it's your first time joining us, I am the food enthusiast. I'm a lover of all things food. I'm a food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. And we welcome you to the conversation today. Just a quick reminder, I'm taking next week off, which is 4th of July. But if you're interested in barbecue, go back on Facebook for J Moore and J Moore Living. You can watch the show from Stephen Reichland, King of Barbecue. And we had a great interview a couple weeks ago. So thanks for joining the conversation. Today's guest is Chef Cat, or Catina, the real name, Chef Cat Smith. She's a well-known chef here in Baltimore and is one of the most impactful chefs for what's going on in the industry for women and women of color. Let's see Cat. There she is. Hi, Cat. Good to see you.
You too.
Pardon me?
I said good to see you too.
Yeah. So what's cooking today other than that bun in the oven and moving?
Nothing is actually literally cooking in the kitchen today, unfortunately. I was feeling a little under the weather, so hopefully my BF hooks me up something.
Well, just let people know you're due next week.
Yeah.
And you talk about a woman who takes on challenges. You're also moving.
Yes, moving, we packing full. Like, look at this.
Oh.
A lot.
That's a lot of crab cakes.
Right.
I want to fill people in, and if I don't get all this, you're a graduate of the former Baltimore International Culinary College here in Baltimore, so you have your degree as a professional cook.
Yes.
You then went into the Air Force Reserves. Why? I mean, that just seems a little out of track for what you were doing.
Totally. So at the culinary school, you know how they have like career fairs and things like that? So they had the Army there, and I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. So they totally sold me on being able to cook all this fancy stuff for generals and the president. And I'm already a military brat. My dad was in the Navy. So I was like, okay, this could be cool. I could do this. And then I joined the Army before I joined the Air Force. And this was 2005. So it was still hot, like Iraqi freedom and all that stuff going on. And they were already trying to send me overseas before I even fully signed the contracts. I was like, oh, my God. Get me out of here. I called the Air Force recruiter and they switched me over, and I've been doing that for the last 15 years.
So it's something you enjoy because basically you could have gotten out of it. And
so I do it. I'm a reservist. So that's only 1 weekend out of the month and 2 weeks in the summer. And I did go into food service.
That's great. And it helped you. You got a hospitality and restaurant management degree from their community college.
Yeah, of the Air Force, yes.
The Air Force Reserves. I think when we met, I met at the Hotel Indigo with you and Ashley Christmas was the first time I met you.
Yep.
And we have talked previously, and I was curious because your degrees were not really the future ones. Organizational management, your bachelor's degree, and have you finished your master's in acquisitions?
I have not. I have 2 classes left to go, and I'm just like pushing it off. But I think I'm going to go ahead and finish it this year so I could just be done.
So that was more to go into purchasing. Am I correct?
So I left the food industry and then I went into government. And so I was actually doing procurement for the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay. Just trying.
I was all over the place, Sarah.
Well, you found your niche and you're making an impact for women and women chefs. Just to fill people in, things that you're doing. You were sous chef at Guy Fieri's kitchen at the casino. You were executive chef at Dovecote Cafe. You worked at Magdalena, which is considered the premier restaurant in the city. And you worked at Alexander Brown, which may they rest in peace. They're gone. And Copper Kitchen Catering. But you also
And I was
did.
a chef at Notre Dame for a while too.
I can't keep up with you. You're just. And this baby is your third child, so you have a boy and a girl
Yeah.
and a boy coming. Okay. So I had the privilege of coming to your house. You do these dinners called Three Petals.
Yeah.
And dinners, mine was a brunch. And it's a mix up of you have Nicole Erica, who's your sommelier, um, Amber Kroom, who is your pastry chef who just won Chopped, and you
Yep.
do the main course. But these are all women of color
Yes.
and doing these meals. Can you fill me in a little bit more about them?
So the idea came about, I think, what's that movie called that was on Netflix? I think 42 Grams. And they were doing like the in-home supper club situation. So I was totally inspired by that. But of course, my movement already Just Call Me Chef was about. So I said, of course, I have to have 3 Black women. And so I was just playing around with the names. And 3 Petals came to me because at first I was like 3 roses because I wanted to be 3 for the 3 of us. And like 3 Black roses. And I was like, that's doing too much. But petals, it just sounds soft. It sounds nice, feminine. And so that's how that came about. Amber, I met her. I'm not even sure how I met her. I was introduced to her via Instagram and was told about her that she used to be the executive pastry chef at Woodbury. And I was like, oh, wow. So I asked her to be in the calendar. So she's in the calendar from last year. And Nicole, I met her through some mutual friends. And I went to a dinner that she curated at Ida B's with Chef DJ. And I was like, wow, she is amazing. Like, she's so young and she knows so much about wine and she's so just the cutest thing. So I was like, oh, we definitely have to do some collaborations.
Yeah, she is tiny. She was sitting next to me when we did the brunch, and that food was amazing, amazing. I loved it. I enjoyed the intimacy of it, of limited people, and you do different seating so people can find you. I guess the best way they can find you is your other thing that's very important. It's Just Call Me Chef.
Yeah,
And that's justcallmechef.co, C-O.
C-O.
It's not com, it's .co. Let's talk about Just Call Me Chef because you are impactful and go ahead.
Okay. So Just Call Me Chef came about as an idea as a calendar. I tried to do it about 3 or 4 years ago and it didn't really take off until I met Daniel and he said, hey, you still want to do this calendar thing? I'll do it for you pro bono. I said, oh, that's the green light that I've been waiting for to really take off on this calendar idea. So we did the calendar. I pretty much just hit up my circle of friends. Do you guys want to do this calendar? I think it's going to be great. Just kind of like an in-your-face Black women in your kitchen, just trying to get it into people's commercial kitchen spaces so they can see, hey, we're here. We're Black women. We're amazing. We're cooking this amazing food. And then it kind of just spiraled into something else. I said, this could be an actual movement because I don't really see organizations where I see people that look like me. So maybe I could go ahead and start that up. I was already hosting like chef meetups. So I said, okay, I can kind of tune that in to just women. So that's how it all basically got started.
A quote, I think you created the tagline, and if I look off because I'm just reading the quote, acknowledging our skill without differentiation. Let's see if my math will work. You don't need to say a Black woman cooked this. I hold the title of chef, so that's all you need to call me.
Exactly. It's kind of me getting smart with you, like just call me chef. You don't have to put all that other stuff in front.
Well, this started way before what's happening now. And, I am thrilled to see the growth of everything. Talking about female chefs, I think one of the quotes that I liked was Dominic Crenn, who's a Michelin star chef. This is back in 2014. And she said, "We are all chefs, but I'm supposed to be something else too. I'm expected to be a champion on the gender, because on top of that, don't get me wrong, I want to help pave the way to make things better for female chefs in our industry and for all chefs in general. But I worry that I will always be seen as a female chef first and a chef second.
Right.
It's a corner I'm forever stuck in. Do you feel that way about being, quote, a black female chef?"
Absolutely, definitely. And I think, did they like give her an award where it was like best female chef, and she was like, "Oh my god, here we go with this." So yeah,
Right.
definitely. So I have to fight that battle, being a woman and being black. So double, I feel that. Like, we just cook at the end of the day. If I put a plate on your table, can you tell a man or a woman made it?
You can't.
Right, exactly.
No. I'm just trying to get this to come up so I can see if any questions. So if you see me looking off, it's like I have these books stacked and the cameras and the lights. I'm all managing this. I think you might have been in the shoot that I did for Women Chef and Restaurateurs down at B&O Brasserie. We had get-togethers. I had organized that. Let's see. I think we'll try it again here. Okay, here it comes. We'll see if there's any questions. There's a new you might know about this. There's a new magazine by Clancy Miller called For the Culture. Have you heard about that?
Definitely. I emailed her a little something.
Okay. For those tuning in, she says Black women really are the root of the kitchen and cuisine in this country from the very beginning. After Native Americans, it's Black people. There's a lot of shaping of culture that Black women have done, and definitely through food. I feel like that continues to happen, but Black women's stories aren't centered. I want to see what it would look like if Black women tell these stories, photograph these stories and illustrate these stories. So the magazine will be all Black women working on it. So that's a very exciting endeavor. You do work for the Food Project, don't you? Can you tell people about the Food Project?
Yes. So I'm on the board for the Food Project. It's an initiative of Southwest Baltimore helping inner city youth. So it's more than just actual food, which is cool because they have their own business where they're making a product called CD Nutty, and it's kind of making its way around the city. They have I know a contract with Under Armour. They're at the stadium. They're at different Atwater. So it's pretty cool. It employs the students. So that's awesome. But it's also like an after school program. So they come there and they learn different things throughout the week. So we have like a scientist that comes and does science with them. We have someone that is mental health. I come and do the cooking piece, all kind of stuff. So
you serve on the board, don't you?
Yes. And
yes.
I'm a grant from Johns Hopkins, so I'll be doing a virtual cooking class with them on Mondays starting next week.
Okay, well, I have a list of what's coming up for you tomorrow. People, this woman, understand, I don't know where the energy is coming from, but she's pushing it out. Tomorrow, Caribbean American Heritage Month cooking demo, and they can tag into it through justcallmechef.co, right?
Yep.
That's Monday is the Cooking with the Kids with the Food Project. On the 30th, Convos with Culinary Artists Private Chef Week. And we should tell people that you're available and doing private chef work. What is this Convos with Culinary Artists? Tell me a little bit more about that.
So they're going to invite, I guess, a panel of different private chefs, and we're just going to talk about being Black and doing private chefing. They started this, I think this is a new initiative, this Private Chef Week. They hosted a virtual situation because it kicked off kind of when everything started. but just highlighting private chefs. So I kind of put myself in that category, even though I do still have like a 9 to 5, but I still can come over and cook for people. So I'm just excited to rub elbows with other personal chefs, because I know there's like a personal chef association and all of that official stuff. And I'm like, so I can come over and cook for you. I can make it work even though I do catering.
Well, you can do that, and you've been doing boxes. You just did for Father's Day that people could order boxes of food to take home and do. So it's either prepped or ready to be cooked, something with steaks. Yeah, Jeffrey Spear, go ahead.
Yeah, I did a steak dinner for Father's Day. We hosted a virtual cookout on justcallmechef.co, and 4 other chefs, they did something actually on that day, and I did it on Father's Day, the 21st. And I just did some steak with potatoes and asparagus and 3 different sauces. I did like a chimichurri, a mushroom sauce, and a chive beurre blanc. So it was nice.
Ooh. Sounded good. Jeffrey Spear, who's a good friend of mine, has 2 questions for you. 1, are you a Baltimore girl? What's your favorite hometown food?
I am a Baltimore girl. I did do a little moving around with, my father being in the Navy, but I've been here mostly my whole life. Let's see. That's hard to answer. When you say it's like Baltimore food, are you meaning, am I like a crab cake type of person? That's so funny. I just had crab cake from Moe's yesterday. But my favorite food is actually Asian inspired food. So I'm always eating some sort of Thai situation.
Well, are you into the spicy of Thai?
Yeah, I love spicy. Yeah, I just love like the big, bold flavor. So that's how I also like to cook as well.
Does the baby like the spices?
No, acid reflux is really real. I need to slow that down.
Well, that'll be the first thing you get into once the baby is here, which will be pretty soon. Mm-hmm. So Jeffrey is a good friend, and he comes up with questions that he wants to know. He says, with all the activity, how do you manage 3 kids? Well, 2.5 or 2 3/4. I'm exhausted thinking about it.
Yeah, so luckily my kids are 11 and 12, and they're kind of self-sufficient. My son right now is at his friend's house, and my daughter's upstairs on the phone or watching TV, and we're just bored. It's been months, so we've done everything I think we can do, but they're kind of self-sufficient, so I'm just thankful that I don't have like little toddlers running around nagging me. So I'm grateful for in that regard.
Well, soon
right.
You'll have a little one, right? And I met your partner, and he's a doll baby. So I like him. Oh, I was talking about things coming up. You're doing a recording on July 1st, a recording session for Cherry Bomb Radio.
Yes.
You are in demand. Thank you for sharing this little bit of time out of your busy schedule. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. You're so impactful in what you're doing here in the city for chefs, women, and women of color. So we're going to broad scope that. And your passion for food comes out by what you're putting on the plate. I think people have the impression that if you are a chef of color, that you're doing soul food, and that's not the case.
No. Pigeonholed into that when people ask me for things, and I'm just like, I don't even do that. Do you see me post anything that looks like that?
No.
Wrong with it. That's just not my niche.
Well, more women of color chefs have become more prominent. Carla Hall helped that out. Mm-hmm. Top Chef, Nina Compton, the Food Network, B. Smith. Mm-hmm. But there's so many more. You talked about the calendar you do for Just Call Me Chef. Didn't you have 100 chefs show up for that?
For that big photo shoot. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do it again next year. So hopefully it's even bigger.
And if people are interested to learn more, justcallmechef.co. I have a couple questions that I like to ask.
Okay.
And one, what is your most epic culinary fail?
My most epic culinary fail. Hmm. Ooh, let me think on that. I don't know my most epic culinary fail right off top, but I remember one time when I got totally like yelled at by Chef Mark. We were cooking. I was cooking like family meal, and I was chopping up some potatoes, and I already had potatoes in the water, and I just had a couple more, and I threw them in there. And he was like, "That's not how you cook potatoes. If you already had some, you can't just throw some right in the water. They're not going to be done at the same time. Throw everything out. Throw everything out." And he was just cursing me out. I'm like, "It's family meal. It's just mashed potatoes." I was just like crying.
Well, maybe I should explain to people what family meal is. In the restaurant industry, somebody takes responsibility to cook a meal for the staff, and that's what the family meal is. In fact, there were a couple of cookbooks that were put out that were about all the great restaurants and the family meals and the staff and what they did with that. But yeah, I can see Chef Mark being precise about that.
I couldn't believe he went off about like mashed potatoes. Like, it's okay. It's just gonna be smashed. It's mashed potatoes. It's all right. He cussed me out.
All right. And my other question
Mhm.
is, what question didn't I ask you that I should have?
Hmm. Question. Oh, I guess how I feel about the state of things right now.
Well, let's address that. I'd love to hear your voice about that, and we can talk about Uzu Bay if you wish, which was, as they say in Yiddish, a shunda, a horrible,
Horrible.
uh, horrible. So let's talk about the state of things.
The state of things. It just feels like we do this every like 2 years where we have all these riots and protests and craziness. And it's just like with COVID happening too, it's just been like doubly depressing as a Black woman and as a chef. Like, first of all, I haven't worked since March. So just still trying to just carry the load of the family and making sure we're okay. And then on top of that, just being afraid to be outside in my own skin. And so I don't know, I get so emotional about it, but I just wonder when we as a people are gonna get past this, and then you can't help but read some of the comments under the Facebook lives and some of the people in Baltimore saying racist things like, "Oh my God, these people are in my city. I might have even walked past them, and this is how they feel about Black people." It's totally disheartening, and I can't believe it. I remember when Chop Tank first came out and they put out that whole
Dress code.
code, and that's when I'm like, okay, I'm not a fan of them anymore. Like, I love Tagliata. Like, I used to go to Tagliata all the time, and I even checked out Uzo Bay Beach, and that was cute. But I think there's just a total lack of Black fine dining or like nicer places to go, so we don't have any alternatives. And already I'm just disappointed with Black people that we can't stay unified for even a week to protest these people. Like, it was packed yesterday, I've heard, still with Black people. And I'm like, they don't even want us in here. And here we are giving them our money. And that's where the power is. Like, if we totally just unified as a race, like, hey, you guys don't want us here, we'll take our green dollars elsewhere. But we can't even do that for long. So it's just mind boggling to me. And the fact that none of the owners, of Atlas Group have done like a video, a heartfelt video, and they just keep putting out letters, says so much.
They let me go to last week in Antoinette Bruno,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about fine dining, and she said, "Fine dining." We talked about this 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What was going by the wayside? Maybe it was 10 years ago. That you're going in, there's no linens on the tablecloth. Fine dining is Charleston here in town. It's Magdalena. The service is impeccable, but that's not the everyday. And with COVID, that's changed it even more as to how we're addressing these things.
Mm-hmm.
So when you want to go out for fine dining, it's even going to be even harder to find if with the Atlas Group, who has a certain way of doing business, which
Mm-hmm.
I've not been fond of, and I've not been in their restaurants at all.
Oh, wow.
But
Way to go.
I think it, you know, a number of us that talked even before this that the restaurant, it's the hospitality business. It should be welcoming everyone,
Right.
everyone in. And unfortunately, that's not the persona that they put out.
Mm-hmm.
And as for going on between COVID and the protests, there's difference. And I tried to explain to people, I said, it's one thing to protest. I said, it's another small handful that are rioting. I
Mm-hmm.
said, protests are good. And I don't know where it comes from.
I feel like the riots are just in a sense, and that's just the whole like no justice, no peace situation. Like if we could change, things are changing, but not the right things. Oh, we're changing Aunt Jemima. We're doing all this. We're doing all that. But I'm like, are the police gonna stop killing us? Like that's all we want, and that's not happening. So that's the crazy part.
Well, as a mother,
I'm scared for him to walk up the street.
yeah, as a mother and your partner, and you have a second boy coming in, obviously, it's
It's
incomprehensible with everything that's come to light that's this is still going on.
right. It's
It's
mortifying.
still going on. I'm not super political in a sense, I don't write political columns. I just write from the heart
Mm-hmm.
and care about the people. And I've always believed if you work for a living, you deserve my respect. I believe I people are not judged by the color of their skin, they're judged by the type of person they are, and that's how I've always been. And my parents back in I have to think back how many they had a drugstore on 31st and St. Paul, which used to be the old Donna's.
Oh,
It was
okay.
near Hopkins University, and they had a fountain and a couple of booths. And this I remember back. So this is, let's say, 1962. So it's a ways back, but it was still a time where there was segregation and sitting down. And a Black woman or a woman of color, I never know what's right, and I don't want to insult anyone.
I like being called black. I'm not. I don't like person of color. That's
You
just
don't like
yeah. That's
okay, you prefer being called Black.
mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm always hesitant. I don't want to insult anyone. I just want to call you my friend, honestly. That's it. But a Black woman came in in those days, and I remember she was standing there and she ordered a fountain of Coke with ammonia in it. That was something that people got. And she's standing there, and my mother says, "Have a seat." And she says, "I can't sit down." My mother says, "Have a seat." You know, it's never been anything in our household. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful for that. The acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, so it has to do with raising your kids and giving them a vision of what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
So that's the shortened version that we've cured all the ills of the world in this little conversation. Um,
I think.
Anything else?
Yeah, just talking about how we're gonna move forward as a city in the food scene. And I don't even know myself because we're opening up. We're in phase 2. I think very prematurely. I'm seeing the numbers still going up, so I don't even understand that. And like I've dined al fresco. I went to Charleston and we ate outside. I went to Duck Duck Goose and we ate outside. We were like the first people there, so no one was around. Our server had on a mask, but I'm like, I don't want to dine like this. So I don't know. And like even me, I'm thinking like the small dinner clubs are gonna really hopefully jump off and be something that people like to do. So I'm really gearing up to unroll 3 petals for fall.
Well, I'm there.
Yay!
You know, I'm back. That food and
Planning
a
for
photograph.
We can't plan for anything. And I don't even know what's happening with Copper Kitchen. I know they turned into like a takeout situation, but like all weddings and events have kind of been canceled and put on hold. So I don't even know when I can possibly go back to work. And it's just crazy. Like I've been in that group chat. What is it, Baltimore Restaurant Relief Fund or something like that, and just hearing everybody's stories. It's crazy. We have to go back to work. We don't feel safe. I don't know.
You know, it's a whole new territory for everyone.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, the people that we care about in the industry, they survive.
Right.
You survive. Um, and like the boxes that you do, that people can order food to be delivered or picked up from you, to have quality food, because I'm pretty tired of my own cooking. And I'm not a bad cook. So, um, I guess the best way for people to reach you is just call me chef.co,
Yeah.
in general, and reach out to her. And
Mhm.
if she's keeping busy and she doesn't answer, she might be delivering a baby.
Yes.
That's very, very close at hand.
I'm back to work.
Um,
He's out.
Look, I adore you, and I have a picture that I have up that I just thought was great. It was you, it was me, and Chef L. Simone
Mm-hmm.
from She Chef. I love that photo. It's a great photo.
Yeah, the American
Um,
Kitchen. Yeah. I think we're at the American Heart Kitchen for her demo. Yeah, that was good.
right. Yes, that was very good. Sweetie, big mois, be safe.
You too.
May, may the baby just drop out and no pain.
Thank you.
My lips to God's ears. And we'll check in with you again sometime soon. Thank you for doing the Food Enthusiast.
Thank you for having me. Be safe.
I'm just